Carolyn Meyer, thanks for sitting down with us.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
You're author of Diary of a Waitress, The Not So Glamorous Life of a Harvey Girl. What's a Harvey Girl?
Harvey Girl, oh my goodness, that would, we could spend the morning talking about Harvey Girls. They were waitresses in working for Fred Harvey Company, starting in the late 19th century and going up to about 1960. There were about 100,000 of them. They came from all over the Middle West primarily, and also from some parts of the East, adventurous souls. And they went through a kind of a boot camp, a training program to offer first-class service in the Fred Harvey restaurants, which were being opened all along the Santa Fe Railroad as it extended from Chicago to St. Louis and Kansas City, and then on west to California and down into Texas too.
And we had Harvey Hotels here in New Mexico, right?
Yes, indeed, the Alvarado.
Now, when did you first become interested in the Harvey Girls and their legacy in this part of the country?
You know, I'm asked all the time about where did you get the idea for, and I always have a pat answer, and I don't for this one. I don't know why. I don't know. All I can tell you is I was never a Harvey Girl myself. Some people have asked me that. I wouldn't have had the guts to be a Harvey Girl. Those were true adventurers. And they, at the age of, sometimes they lied, and at 14, can you imagine leaving home and going off and starting a new life like that? At that stage in American history, I can imagine it. So no, I was never a Harvey Girl. Somewhere out of the New Mexico atmosphere floated this notion of Harvey Girls, and I was captivated.
Now, you're a novelist, but you do a lot of research on the era to base your characters on, so there's some facts there. Tell me a little bit about your research process for this particular book.
I started with Leslie Poling Kempis' book, which is a collection of oral histories, really, that she did. The Harvey Girls. I don't remember the subtitle at the moment. And that gave me a good overview of who the Harvey Girls were. And then a much more recent book by Stephen Fried called Appetite for America, came up with that one, which gives a big and quite readable picture of the whole Harvey system, of which a couple of chapters focus on the Harvey Girls. So that gave me the basic background. And then from then, so I knew, the screen behind it all that I was going to set my characters in motion against.
Tell us about some of your characters in your book.
Well, I developed 3 of them, and they're completely fictional, but of course there are always roots in people that I've known. Kitty Evans is the narrator, and she's pretty much invention of what I think those girls must have been like. But she needs someone to play off, and so I semi-invented Cordelia, who comes out from Philadelphia and has been to a music conservatory and is quite sophisticated and dresses like a flapper. Well, that's my mother. I have to confess that I drew very strongly on my mother for that. Not that she would have done that, but she was a musician, did go to conservatory, and she had the most gorgeous flapper clothes. And I remember, because she kept them, I remember some of those clothes, and I dressed Cordelia in them for the book.
And what about the other one?
And the other one, Emmy, is a farm girl, and she's probably most typical of the traditional Harvey Girls, coming from a rather poor background, very conservative background, family struggling to survive. They needed somebody to go out and earn more than the dime a day you could get working at Woolworth's, and the Harvey Girls paid a good wage, fed them, clothed them, gave them a safe place to stay, trained them, and they prospered. And many of those girls then settled in New Mexico and Arizona and on west to California, and they became a different kind of settler in the United States, in the western part of the United States.
What's your hope that people would get out of reading a fictional account based on a real history? What would they get that's different from reading a novel such as yours?
Different from reading a strictly historical account?
Exactly.
Bringing it to life, setting these characters in motion, giving them emotional lives, and it gave me a chance to bring in different types of experiences and kind of weave them in, meld them into these characters and into the story.
You're clearly someone who loves history yourself.
Yes.
And why do you think that that's important for us to keep looking at history, even our recent history in the past 100 years?
What is the saying? If you forget your history, you're bound to repeat it. Not report, repeat it. And I think we've become ahistorical in our outlook. It's very hard to get kids to care about history. I didn't care about history when I was a student. I came to it much later in life, and I thought, wow, what I've been missing all this time. History, the way it had been taught in my era, and I suspect it hasn't changed a whole lot, is that it used to be all about data. It was about generals and wars and treaties and that kind of detail. And it wasn't about people. It wasn't about the sergeants and the lieutenants and their wives and sweethearts. It was about the generals and what they were doing. And I thought that's where the story is, the history. And that's what I focus on, is the story, the narrative. And I think it gives people, who might not sit down and read a straight nonfiction description of the era, will sit down and get lost in a novel and perhaps learn and remember almost as much.
And potentially challenges what people might think of women of that time. You said these were women who were adventurous. Maybe sometimes they needed to be for their family, but really did things that I think people might not realize women were doing, working and difficult work.
Yes. Well, it was very hard work, but it was work that had always been frowned on. Waitresses were really the bottom rung on the social ladder, one notch above prostitutes. And a lot of people assumed that they were prostitutes in long black dresses and white aprons looking more like nuns. Just completely blew apart the whole perceived persona of waitresses in those days, because they were really classy. And the Fred Harvey Company made sure that they were really classy. Well, there was still a lot of disapproval, and one of the things that was going on, and I picked this up from Katrina Park's documentary, Harvey Girls. What is the full title of her book? The Harvey Girls, Opportunity Bound. They were bound for opportunity, but there were a lot of social forces trying to keep them back from that, to hold them back. A disapproval from the pulpit. You don't want your daughters going off and doing this rather disreputable thing. They should stay home and work on the farm or get a job at 5 and 10.
Such an interesting history, though.
Yeah.
Anything on your mind these days? Another topic that you want to explore? Another part of history that you're looking at?
Oh my! Well, I'm working on another project now, but it's not New Mexico related. It's about Margaret Bourke-White, who was a photographer in the 1930s and 40s, and has taken some of those iconic photographs that were on the jacket of the First Life magazine, and established herself as a war correspondent, and when it was off in World War II, traveling with the troops, an embed from the way back then, and a woman doing this, unheard of, and of course that always fascinates me. I have to say that most of my characters, with the exception of Charlie Darwin, have been women.
And strong women.
And strong women, tough women, brave and courageous and beautiful women.
Carolyn, it was so nice to chat with you today. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Sarah. My pleasure.